Trade deadlines come and gone. Namco and Dustin here with Fantasy Smack Talk. Obviously, a ton of trades happen in the NBA, so there's fantasy implications. So this video, we're going to go over all the trades and what it means to your fantasy squad. But before we get into that, March Madness around the corner. We're running the brackets on our site, and we give $1 million to a perfect bracket. If you miss 1 or 2 games, we give you $10,000, and if you miss 3 games, we'll just give you $1,000. So, with that, all that being said, there's no limit on how many brackets you can do. So go in there, go nuts, create a million usernames. All right, Dustin, talk about the NBA trades.
The biggest one, obviously, the Melo trade. Thank God it's over. I know everyone was as sick as I was of hearing about it. But Melo and Billups going out to New York for Felton, Gallinari, and Chandler. You know, we think Melo and Billups stay about the same. The biggest loser in this one is Felton. It looks like he's going to be playing behind Ty Lawson as of now. That could, just turn into an ugly timeshare, but Felton takes a big hit. Gallinari and Chandler, yet to be seen how many minutes they're going to play. Probably roughly the same amount of value as they had in New York. But overall, biggest loser is Felton in this one.
And the team that was hoping to land Melo actually ended up landing Darren Williams. They traded Devin Harris and favors for him. I love Darren. I think he's the best point guard in the NBA. I'm going to probably get some flack about that in the comments. But either way, fantasy implications, Darren Williams stays the same. He's a stud. Devin Harris probably stays roughly about the same. And favors, what little fantasy value had, probably goes down because of Millsap out there. But overall, it's pretty much a wash.
All right, another pretty decent trade was Baron Davis going out to Cleveland for Mo Williams. I think almost everyone loses in this one. I mean, Baron Davis goes out. He's going to be battling Sessions, who's been playing out of his mind lately.
On fire.
I don't see how you can take minutes away from Sessions right now, but we'll see what happens. And now Mo Williams is going to be battling another youngster in Bledsoe. We're not sure how that's going to shake up either. But overall, you just got to watch this one. But Bledsoe and Sessions are still guys that you need to keep really close eye on because they might end up winning these 2 jobs.
Next trade we're going to talk about is Crash Gerald Wallace going to the Portland Trailblazers from the Bobcats. And the Bobcats got back Prisabella and Cunningham. Overall, Wallace is going to take a little bit of a hit because there's a lot more talent out there in Portland. And Prisabella, Cunningham, it's kind of a wash. They weren't really that fancy relevant. The big winner that we kind of are projecting right now, however, is Gerald Henderson. We think that Henderson might start at the 2. They move Steven Jackson to the 3. This is all big ifs. But if it does happen, Henderson could really be the big winner. When he's gotten the minutes, he's been extremely productive.
Yes, he has. I just picked him up in a deeper league. All right, we got another one for you. This one's between Boston and Oklahoma City. We got Perkins and Nate Robinson for Jeff Green and Christick. Nate Robinson, Christick, I don't see them doing that much. Jeff Green, I think, takes a little bit of a hit on this one. I don't think he's going to score 15 points a game out there in Boston. And Perkins might get a slight bump, maybe. I don't think he's going to blow up, but if you're looking for a 10-8 guy, he could be your man. But the big winner might be Troy Murphy. He's been looking for a home. We don't think he's going to stay in Golden State. And now that Boston has freed up a center spot, they might be trying to bring Murphy in, and that would be a decent fit for him in Fantasyland.
We know the deadline's gone. What the Warriors would do is buy out his contract, and then Murphy can go sign with a contender. Boston looks to be that place. Next trade, Aaron Brooks traded for Gordon Dragic. Sorry, those European names, Namco, and I can't get any of them else right. But either way, Brooks is definitely going to take a hit because he was battling playing time with Kyle Lowry. Now he's battling playing time with Steve Nash. A little bit of a difference there. Obviously, he's not going to take over for Nash. And Dragic, you know what? It's probably not going to really help or hurt his numbers. He's really not that fantasy relevant.
Another pretty big trade was Carl Landry going out to the Hornets for Marcus Thornton. This one's a little bit interesting. We're not sure what's going to happen with Landry. We're not sure how many minutes he's going to get, but he could be, between 20 and 25 and be about what he's at right now. But Thornton could get a decent bump if he can beat out Jermaine Taylor out in Sacramento. Tyreek Evans out for about 3 weeks. There's still a lot of points and minutes to go around out there. If Thornton can win that job, he could be a sneaky pickup and a decent spot start for you for the next few weeks.
All right, now the last 2 NBA trades that actually happened, I'm going to talk about, then let Dustin complain about an almost trade, and he'll tell you why. The next one is Battier for the Beat. Not really fancy relevant players here that we're talking about. We don't think the Beat's all of a sudden going to turn into what he should have been at the number 2 overall pick. Battier's Battier. You know what you're going to get. His numbers won't change. And then my Bullets, they traded Heinrich and Armstrong, got back Bibby, Mo Evans, and the guy that dunked all over LeBron's face, Jordan Crawford. I love him just for that reason alone. in reality, I love this move for the Bullets, but I digress. In fantasy, Heinrich is going to be starting for the Atlanta Hawks. We think his points are going to go down a little bit because he's surrounded by much better talent, while his assists will go up for obvious reasons. Same thing. Bibby, whatever fantasy value he had, is decreased because of John Wall. The rest of the guys are pretty much a wash. Keep an eye on Jordan Crawford. Who knows, as the Bullets slowly start losing more games, maybe they'll try to work the young guy a lot more into the rotation.
And the last thing we're going to talk about is the almost trade that happened between Indiana and Memphis. We got OJ Mayo, who was going to go over to Indiana for McRoberts. It didn't quite happen. It was going to be a huge thing for Mayo was going to get a bump, and Hansbrough was going to get a huge bump. I got Hansbrough. I was hoping that he would...
and Mayo.
And Mayo in a deeper league. I was hoping that they would start finally being able to do what they're capable of. But let me just tell you this, though. The fact that they're willing to trade McRoberts, and in the last game, Hansbrough played down the stretch in a close game, I think it's time to pick up Hansbrough. The era might finally be beginning where Hansbrough starts. One little stat for you, in 4 games where he's played 29 minutes or more, he's averaged 23 and 12.
Ridiculous.
The guy's out there hustling. I think it's time to pick up Hansbrough. He could be a stud from here on out.
Psycho T, I lost a bet to Dustin, but as we were getting ready for this, because I thought, no way those numbers, but yeah, he's playing out of his mind. Good for him.
Could be a good one. So go ahead and pick him up. So that's it for all of the trade stuff. Like Brent was saying at the beginning of the show, get into March Madness, get into those forums. I'm Dustin, this is Brent. See you in a couple weeks.
$1,000,000!